Okay, so here's a report I didn't like. It's about Pereira again, but I want to speak about a number of our transfer targets. It's just Pereira for this particular. I know Gio spoke about him yesterday, but this news came out afterwards, and Gio didn't speak about this in his video. I don't like this. West Ham are exploring a loan deal for Pereira with an obligation to buy. We've got to stop playing this game. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I like that. All right, Souček, brilliant. You know, absolutely brilliant. No problem with that at all. Okay, the loan to buy works. We didn't get the loan to buy with Lingard. That looks like smart business from Man United now. It really does. And I like it when it works, but I think we're in a slightly desperate situation here. And that's fine, okay? Offering a loan to buy with clubs is all well and good if that's what everybody else is doing. But if West Brom, if we assume that the interest from Leeds is real, if we assume the interest from Bundesliga is real, and if we assume the same from Leicester, there are three other clubs after Pereira who are probably not looking to do a loan deal. And I know what it would be exactly like if I was looking to sell something. I'd three firm cash bids ready to pay now, or somebody say, "Can I try before I buy?" I just wouldn't. I don't know. What is interesting is the obligation to buy. The obligation has been replaced with option now. I hadn't heard of obligation before the Benrahma deal. I don't just mean West Ham. I mean throughout football. I hadn't heard of this facility within a loan deal where you had the obligation to buy. It was option. Taken for a loan and you have first refusal. Pay us a loan fee. The obligation. Well, the obligation is really what you're just offsetting the cost by a year, which I don't think is bad. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think in the current climate, bearing in mind you're dealing with a relegated team, they're probably going to need the money now. Are they going to want to wait a year for the money? I don't doubt there's a loan fee involved. And something Gio said to me when we were doing we did our Patreon mug of tea the other day, and it was, I hadn't even occurred to me that that West Brom already owe us money from Diangana, which was a significant transfer. That was 18 million plus add-ons. And I understand with the add-ons, he has to play a certain number of games. One of the add-ons won't be met. They had to stay up. Okay, so I think that was 1 million of it. But I still think with the other add-ons, it still takes the 18 million to 20 million rather than the 22. It's significant. It's still 5 million a year. So we do have some leverage there, granted. But I just wonder if we're just going in a little bit too low with this one. It may well be that we can't afford it. It may well be that this is more attractive than Lingard. As a player, we know Lingard is the main guy that we want. But Man United wouldn't be having any of this. Man United would just want some money. Maybe we're looking at it thinking, well, hold on, Lingard might cost 20-25 million now. We can start our repayments for this guy at 15-20 million in a year's time. For a club that's probably not got much money, and I would assume West Ham are such a club, bearing in mind we've had to take out all these loan facilities. And bearing in mind, I think our debt, much of a play was made when Gold and Sullivan took ownership of the club, that the debt was 100 million. I would imagine now the debt is, I don't know. This is my opinion, this is my guess. I would imagine the debt is around the same or more. I would imagine West Ham still owe 100 million. Now, don't get me wrong. I think they were. We have had less. We've probably started to really pay a lot of that off. But I think the last 12, 18 months probably blown that out of the water. We probably now owe even more. And certainly have lending facilities above and beyond that. So I don't think we got loads of money. And when you don't have loads of money, not paying for someone for a year has got to be a good option, right? I mean, would just have to be. So, yeah, but I don't like it. It makes me nervous, as I'm sure it does you. I'm just worried that we're going to go in, I fancy a little loan deal, and Leeds are going to come in and say, there you go, there's 25 million, we'll have him, thank you very much. At which point they're just going to do a deal with Leeds, aren't they? So I mean, that's a worry. I didn't realise as well. It was only when I did my video yesterday when they've They've signed Samir. Sorry, Leicester signed Samir and Patson Daka, and Ryan Bertrand on a free. Leicester have already spent 40 million. 40 million. And they were, I mean, you have to look at it and say in terms of league places, we were right there. There was nothing between West Ham and Leicester last season. But already they've extended beyond us, as I mentioned in the previous video, because we've lost Lingard. We're down. There's been separation between the clubs. So that's that. Another one I wanted to talk about was the Manchester City player, Yangel. We've been linked with... Oh, sorry, that's Yangel Herrera. Why am I thinking Yangel Rangel? Who's Yangel Rangel? Have I just made it up? What did he play for Swansea? I don't know. I can't remember. Yangel Herrera. Crystal Palace, Southampton, West Ham and Leeds are all interested in the City midfielder. The strongest offer is from Crystal Palace. Now, I can't get up in arms about this one because I can't think I've ever seen the guy play. And that does make a difference to me. I'm not somebody that gets overly invested in a transfer of somebody I haven't seen play and get really disappointed when it doesn't happen. It doesn't bother me. The Pereira one's quite different. The Pereira one, I think, well, I want him because I thought he was one of my favourite players last season. I think he's fantastic. Yes, I want him. I can't get overly excited and I can't get overly disappointed. What I would say is, if we do want this player, and just because I haven't seen him doesn't mean he's no good. It doesn't mean that David Moyes has. I hadn't seen Thomas Souček, and he turned out to be brilliant. If what we've done is we've looked at this and we've identified this Yangel Herrera, not Yangel Rangel. I'm sure it must be someone. There is someone called that, right? If we've identified this and this is one of the guys that we want, then we've got to go and get him. And you can't have a situation where Crystal Palace outbid us for a player. You can't. You can't. Yeah. I understand. I understand that there's been a downturn from COVID. I really do. And I understand that we're a busted flush in as much as the move to the Olympic Stadium has not propelled us to challenge for the top clubs. I understand that. It just ain't happened. Okay, fine. Not fine, not great. Crap, actually, but we still have to be stronger. Surely we still have to be stronger than Crystal Palace. And that's no offence to Crystal Palace at all. But we do, right? We have 50, 60,000 fans, and obviously we haven't for quite a while. But we would have to have more clout than Crystal Palace. Otherwise, you know, we really have slipped down the pecking order. Burnley have already been spending money. Burnley have spent 12 million already. This is really important. So if this is the guy, if Yangel Herrera is the guy, we've got to make sure that this deal gets done. Just quickly before I go, I spoke about Nat Phillips just briefly in yesterday's video. There's so much talk about Pereira at the moment, and we've done it. I've done it. Gio's done it. I've spoken about it in this video as well. Nikola Milenkovic, got that right. He's back in the news as well. I was really pleased to. I'm quite pleased to see that we do seem to be in for a goalkeeper. That's really good. Seems to be Sam Johnston or Areola. Maybe we're playing them off against each other. Again, what we must be mindful of is that we don't put ourselves in a position where we get none of them. Like I'm worried about with the attacking midfielder, as we've already discussed. The Ross Barkley thing, I actually don't believe it. I'll tell you why. I've mentioned it once or twice before. For those who don't know my theory on this, I don't believe the Ross Barkley thing. Just purely because when David Moyes went to Man United, he had his pick of the Everton players and he didn't go back for Ross Barkley. And he could have done. He armed with 30 million, he went back to Everton and he bought Mariano Fellaini. I think that says everything. I think he's got tons of ability, Barkley, by the way. Tons of ability. He's a bit inconsistent, isn't he, really? But tons of ability. But the fact that Moyes didn't go back for him, what it indicates to me is how much Moyes rates him, which is not as high as you think. So I just don't think that's going to happen. I'd be surprised if it happens. Linked with Areola Colly. And we lost out on the Rangers winger, Kai Kennedy, who decided to move to Dunfermline instead. Look, I laugh. I don't know anything about Dunfermline. I don't think he was chosen over. I think Rangers just sent him out on loan. I don't think he had the option. It wasn't like, oh, do you want to go to Dunfermline or West Ham? And he said, oh, I'll go to Dunfermline, please. I think Rangers probably said, we're not selling you, but if you want first team football, you're going out on loan to Dunfermline. As for Nat Phillips, I think there's going to be an awful lot of competition for him. I really do. Just briefly, this Jared Bowen. When myself and Gio did the mug of tea the other day, it was the first I'd heard that Liverpool were interested in Jared Bowen, and my initial reaction, for those of you that saw it, was I laughed, and I shouldn't have laughed, and I didn't mean to mock anyone. Look, Bowen's not good enough for Liverpool, and I think he's going to be a really good player for West Ham next season, by the way. And so it was absolutely no surprise to me that Liverpool came out, it's since been confirmed that Liverpool have no interest in Jared Bowen. Why would they? I mean, honestly, why would they? It's absolutely ridiculous. But again, I mean, that is, if anything, is an example of a news story. You know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, just made up to get clicks. Anyway, right, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you then.